So anyone new to NextMinute, you always log in through the website, just up in the login in the top right there, or on your app, on your mobile or your tablet, of course. Now I'll just jump straight into NextMinute here. I've got it open, and this is basically what you see if you're new to NextMinute. All of the navigation's on the left-hand side there, as you see, like most tools these days. And the screen I'm on at the moment is the all job screen, and these are little job cards such as painting job, building renovation job, landscaping, and so forth. So, a few examples to cater for different industries there. So just to begin with, NextMinute, if you're new to it, it suits a lot of different trades. Now, our main focus is definitely builders and the way that we progress, or the construction industry, the way we progress through upgrades. There's a few different job management tools out there, but where we try and stand out is on both ease of use, but also depth of being able to do things. There are a lot of different controls, so you're not focused on one particular pathway. Now, the left-hand navigation there, these little icons up top, some of them are quite useful. The little question mark there, if you click on that, that will take you to our knowledge base, if you want to, which is all of the documentation of how NextMinute works. If you haven't used knowledge base before, I'd highly recommend having a bit of a dive in there, and you can search for all sorts of articles, for example, integrating with Xero. So if I search Xero there, integrate with Xero, will take me to a guide of how to do all the different bits and pieces and get that done. Okay, so back on NextMinute there, there's also the send us a message button. And if I click on that, a little message pop-up will pop up down on the bottom right corner, and that'll send a message straight through to support. So if you're basically walking through and using NextMinute, feel free to use that at any time, and then that'll go through to Devon and her team to come back to you on that. There's also this little tool here. You'll see a little, what do you call it, hourglass, and this is the history. And you can look at activity of your entire team. It'll pop out a little activity log there, so you can always keep an eye on what's going on in the system, okay? Also, you might find this little lightning bolt here is quite useful if you want to do something quickly. So it's a quick actions, and if you click on that, you can create a job, create a quote, create an invoice straight away just by clicking one of these options. So some of you might not have known about that. That's kind of a new feature we've added in, just rearranging the menu. But try and explore these when you get the chance. So where I'm going to begin is just in the admin section here. Now, there's a few things that you kind of want to do to get NextMinute up and running. Such as maybe inviting your staff members, integrating with your accounting software if that's applicable, if you're using MYOB or Xero. Set up your basic business details and making sure your quotes and your invoices and stuff look right. So if I jump into admin there, what you want to do is sort out all of your organization details. And it's crucial to have these if you are invoicing or quoting, because if you've got these all filled out, they will actually appear on the top of your invoices or your quotes that you send out. Now on the users tab here, this is where you invite staff members. So if you haven't invited any staff, and you do have staff members in your business, you simply go invite a new user, enter their details such as their name, email address, and role in their business, and basically just go send invitations once you've done. So I've actually invited a user for my mobile phone. I'll show you my mobile phone screen. They're actually set up as a basic user, which is more for filling out timesheets and seeing job details and stuff. So I'll show you that shortly as well. Now, NextMinute, for those that are new to it, there is some GPS tracking. So when staff are out and about on their mobile or on their tablet, it will actually track their location when they do certain things. So say they go out to site and they do a timesheet entry, it'll pinpoint their location and show on the map where they were when they did that entry. It'll do the exact same if they change the status of a job or a sub-job, which is known as a task in our system. And there are also the ability for them to click on site when they arrive at a job, which is very handy. Now, I want to have a look into the role management because there is quite a few questions that arise out of that. So you've got roles in your business, so such as administrator, basic, or a bunch of other ones. And what the roles is basically permission levels in the system. So if I go to role management here, These are the factory options: advanced, basic, online ordering, or standard. Now, anybody that is any role that you add into the system or that sits here are known as mobile users. So if you ever wondered about the pricing with NextMinute, you've got your admin and your mobile users. Any role that you add in here is always a mobile user. So basically, for anyone new to NextMinute, you'll need an administration account to set it up. But if you add any staff, more often than not, they can be mobile users. The administrations or the administrators of NextMinute have access to a few more things, such as reporting, obviously full system setup, accounting integration, that kind of stuff. But if you just want them to use it, set them up as a mobile user. So if I click into one of these roles, for example, basic there, then there's a lot of different permissions that you can switch on or off for your staff members. And I would just say, have a bit of a play with that. Kind of, set yourself up maybe as a basic user, or if you're setting up a user, set them up as basic, and then log into the account to see what they've got access to. But you can switch off things like jobs. If you wanted to switch them off, switch off individual tasks, make sure that they can only see what they're assigned to, or you can get them to see all if they're working on multiple things at a time. You can really thoroughly customize this. Obviously, timesheets is an option there. You can get them to see just contacts related to jobs, or all contacts if you switch that on. You got the ability for them to do quotes if you want to, invoices, just flick a switch basically. So yeah, have a bit of a play with that when you get a chance. Now moving on from users, templates is another area you might want to look at. And under templates, yes, I do want to cancel. Under templates, this is where you set up your company logo, if applicable, as well as things like your email signature. Okay, and your email signature will be at the bottom of any email you send out to your customers. So if you're sending out a quote or an invoice, for example, this will show up at the bottom, or any communications. But basically under settings, jobs and tasks, you might want to customize all of these just to suit your business, the different stages you're kind of at. So yeah, quite useful for that. And you can run these filters to basically look at different job types and what's on the go. So that's quite useful there. All right, what else is there? There's different contact types. If you want to set up, different tags for your contact types, if they're a supplier or perhaps an architect, or a different site rather than a customer's normal address, that kind of stuff. Your sale items. So if you're selling anything out of NextMinute, your materials, labor, disbursements, you set all of those up here. And there's a lot of other configuration options to make sure that if you're using an old system and you want to kind of continue with your quoting numbers or invoice numbers, you can continue on from there. There's also the bank details you might want to pop on if you're sending invoices out of NextMinute. Now, for those of you that are Kiwi customers and you do have a Placemakers account, I would recommend going to your suppliers tab as well and looking at integrating with Placemakers. Now, why you'd want to do that is that'll directly integrate with your Placemakers account at your branch with live pricing, and it'll also allow their invoices to be fed directly into NextMinute. That just makes life a whole lot easier. We can talk more about Placemakers another time. I'm not going to integrate it today, but any questions on that, feel free to fire them through to Devon. Any questions she'll be able to pick up there. And afterwards, maybe we can talk more about that as well. So that's enough of the boring stuff, all of the admin. Let's just jump in and take a look at kind of creating a job and go from there. So as you see with these job cards, they've got a title, they've got a due date you can assign, they've got a type, priority, status, who your client is. Unbilled amount there shows any charges which have been added to a job, whether it's labor, materials, or other items. It shows who's assigned to the job there. Then you've got a couple of icons there. This one shows the job's got photos, files attached. It's also got some notes someone's made, and yeah, just quite helpful. Now there's a couple of different view options on this as well. Some people prefer grid view, and grid view here is more like an Excel sheet if you're kind of used to using Microsoft Excel. And these columns here, if you want to, you can kind of just drag them around as you see there, just to kind of reorganize exactly what you want to see. And if you click on these little dots here and go down to columns, you can kind of customize exactly what you want to see on these columns. So for example, if you've quoted, you might want to see total estimated costs. That'll show up on the end there. And then, you know, might want to look at total costs on the job, and that'll add that in as well. So maybe look at customizing that. Now this view option here, for those of you that do like using the likes of Microsoft Excel, it also allows you to extract all of this information as an Excel doc. So you go to More, and then you've got the option to export to Excel. Now most systems don't allow that, we do. You can also export it to PDF if you need to. You can do a full back costing summary report on all jobs you've got going. And from this screen, you can also import jobs. So if you're new to NextMinute and you've got a whole lot of information you want to import, go to the import jobs screen, start downloading the generic template, which will give you the correct headers. And then from there, you can kind of transition your jobs from an Excel sheet to the template, and then basically import them back in. Now let's have a look back on this view, and I will go and create a job just by going add there. So give it a title. I'll just call it, I'm not feeling very creative at the moment, so I'll call it webinar new deck or something like that. Now job type is here, you go job type, and then you choose whatever type of job that is. I'll go medium. These can actually be customized from here if you need to as well. Just go edit. Pricing type. Now pricing type, this is another filter. Generally there's a couple of different types of jobs. There's either fixed price, so quoted jobs, or time materials, which is a charge up or perhaps an estimate you've got approved. I'll go fixed price for now. Then the next step is to go customer. And once you've gone to customer, all of your customers from your accounting system will show up here if you'd like them to. Anyone who doesn't have an accounting system or is adding a brand new customer should always go add and then start filling out these details here. Now for now, I'm just going to go with Clark Kent, Ocean Beach Road. And if you do have the situation where you've got multiple different customers, you've got a customer, but they've got multiple different addresses of where work might be taking place, you'd want to go site here, and this site is the physical address of exactly where the job is taking place. So keep that in mind. Now, for a lot of service-based jobs or service techs, if you're getting work orders from other places, you might want to use the order number here just to identify it on the job, or perhaps job code as well. None of these are necessary fields to fill out, but just to let you know what those are. For a brief description of what the job is, you might want to enter it in there as well. So I'll just say building new deck for Sam at NextMinute. Cool. And you've got the option to make sure that when you create a job and you're adding different stages to that job, as I mentioned a little earlier, so stages of, you know, foundations, framing, that kind of stuff, you can make sure that your staff have to enter time against individual tasks if you create them. So you just turn that on. Of course, this job I'm creating has got no tasks yet, but that's what that switch is for. Now, if you want to assign the jobs to specific staff members, simply go assigned to. You choose your staff members. So I'll go Mr. Subby for now. That's the basic user I've set up. And you know, you can create tasks and stuff from here, schedule it in now if you want to as well. Now, I'm not going to touch too much on the scheduling yet because there's a new feature we're rolling out very soon, which will allow you to, as I mentioned, schedule jobs instead of having to create those tasks, which is quite cool. What you can also do when creating jobs is choose to send notifications to your staff just by flicking that switch. Down on here, you've got notify by email, text message, and you can have it so it automatically sends these notifications when you create jobs as well. Now, at the moment, we're not charging anything for text messages. So if you want to be able to send out notifications to your staff, it's a perfect opportunity to start utilizing this. And we're going to make a change to this shortly as well, where it will send push notifications, kind of like a WhatsApp message if you guys use WhatsApp, or like a Facebook notification, so people kind of know what's going on. I'll turn notifications off for now though, and I'll just hit save. And that's going to create a brand new job card, as you see there, webinar new deck. and I can see it's assigned to Mr. Subby. Now, once you've got this little job card, you've got a lot more options that appear on the job card. Obviously, I can see where it is now, the address there, and I can go in and add photos if I need to, just by clicking photos there, and then add, choose the files I need to. I can go in and add files to the job if I need to, such as site plans, that kind of stuff. Just go Files, Add, and then you can drag and drop files. So if I open up my folder here, go to my, for example, downloads, I can drag in any odd file, upload that, and that'll be able to be viewed on your tablet, on your mobile, or on the desktop. And remember, all of this stuff is permanently saved against the client and against the job, which means you can't lose stuff. You can access it at any time. It's not paperwork floating around, and that's the key to having a system like this, is having everything in one singular place. Now, also with some types of files like this one, instead of downloading it, you've actually got the opportunity to view these files within. So if I go View File, like this PDF here, this is just an example invoice here. You guys can actually download that from the downloads as well. So yeah, just keep in mind that's an option. So also, once you've created a job, you might want to look at maybe adding a quote to it. And there's a couple of different ways to do quotes. One is within quotes here. If you click on quotes, then you can simply go into add and then choose how you're adding a quote. If you've got a file such as from your supplier and they've quoted up something for you, you can actually import that file into NextMinute to create the quote for you. Hopefully you guys have got me again. I think I've figured this out. My microphone's just, yep. Hey, thanks for the comments, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is using the standard system defaults for quote date and expiry date. And then you've got, making sure it's assigned to the right job. You can assign quotes to individual stages or tasks if you need to as well. Add any private notes you might need to know for your client down here, and any references that will appear on the header of the quote just in here as well. By default, it's going to use the job reference, and just hit save. Cool. So this is going to create a pretty basic quote for us. Obviously, there's no information on the quote yet, but here's the header with your client information, quote number, date, your GST number and stuff will show up here, your business details, and any reference as well. And you can kind of type into here whatever you'd like. So I could say, this is a quote for a new deck, and save that one. Okay. Now below here, this is where you kind of add the guts of the quote. So all of your labor, your materials, disbursements, and other bits and pieces. So I'm just going to go in here and go add a new item. Go to labor. And on here, you can choose from your labor rates you add to the system when you start off. So you might just have, your standard hourly rate, or after hours if you're doing that kind of work. If you are doing weekend work, and you just click on them, and then choose how many hours you actually want to add to the quote. So I'll go 10 in this case, and apply. If I want to add more labor charges, it'll ask me. I don't need to in this case, so I'll click no. Now, when you're building your quote, obviously right down here, you'll see that we're getting the total labor, materials, and disbursements broken down. It'll add the GST automatically, and it'll show you profit margin. So that's quite handy to have that. Also on quotes, what you can do is add sections to the quote. And as you can see here, it says details. I'm going to change this to just say labor. I'll explain the sections in a second. It'll make much more sense. So I'll just make sure to that my audio is working. I assume everyone can still hear me. That's good. Just bear with me a second, guys. Just checking with my colleague Devon. Let's see. Yep, good. So sections on a quote basically allow you to break a quote down into much higher detail for your clients. So when you present it to them, they might be able to see your labor and your materials separated with the totals, that kind of stuff. I'll get to adding tasks shortly. Just got a couple of questions on that, and I'll show you through the calendar probably after our 5-minute break, I think. So adding a section, you just click on this little button here. In this new section, I'm going to call it materials. I'm going to add one more section before I add any items in there, and I'm just going to call it other items. Cool. So in here, I'm going to go add new item, choose materials this time, and there's a whole lot of dummy materials I've got here, such as some jib, some other bits and pieces. I'm definitely no builder, so I don't know what most of the stuff is, but you get the idea. And you can upload your supplier's price lists. I saw a question about Bunnings come through before. Can I get my pricing in from Bunnings? Yes, you can. As long as they give you a price list in an Excel format, you've got the ability to upload that. And that applies to anyone using ITM, Mitre 10, anything like that. You can get your list of materials into NextMinute. The benefit with the placemaker side of things is it's live. If you get different prices over time, then you're just going to need to upload that when you get a price update from your supplier, so keep that in mind. For this example, I am just going to add some jib. I'll go in and add 5 sheets here, apply, and we've got our jib in there. And of course, further down, we can now see total materials 175, so it's building that quote for us. Now, under other items, I'm going to go in and go add new item and disbursements. Now, what disbursements are? They're basically anything that is an item that you'll charge for, which is not labor, not materials. So some examples here: a travel charge, phone and internet if you're going away for a job in the distance, I guess. Meals if you're charging that kind of stuff. Other examples would be things like scaffolding hireage, skip bin, portaloo, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. So for this instance, I'm just going to go travel charge, and this is set up as per kilometre, and I'm going to go 100 on that and go apply. Cool, we're good. Now with these quotes, as you're building them, obviously they're going to get really, really busy, especially for the big projects. What you might want to do is just go collapse all, and then it'll collapse all the sections so you can just work on the exact one that you want to. Okay, just to get an idea. Just hit expand all there to bring them all out again. And if you ever need to move these items, if I mouse over just the left hand end of these items, I can drag and drop these to different sections if I needed to. So just keep that in mind as well. Moving things around is pretty easy. I'm just going to save this. There's a lot more I can show you on the quoting, but I'm not going to go too deeply into it yet. Someone asked about health and safety. Yep, of course you could add a section in called health and safety if you wanted to the quote. With any applicable charges to that area. You can also attach files to the quote if you need to. So you'll see files here. Basically just click on files, and then it'll allow you to add files in, just like I did before to the job, but this is to the quote. And that means if you're sending out the quote, any other files, you can add those in if necessary. I'll just close that one for now. Now what I want to do, before I send this quote out, of course, I might want to preview it. So you go up to preview and send, and then go preview. And this is kind of what your client might expect without any configuration. Of course, there's no terms and conditions down here. We haven't set those up, but we can do that for different businesses or help you through that. And this quote here is actually quite detailed. It's got the section titles, but it's also got the individual items underneath. Now, some people don't really prefer to show that level of detail. A lot might just want to show labor, materials, other items, or labor might be foundations. This might be framing. This might be, the roofing, for example. So what you want to do here is go back to preview and send, go to print options, and then under here you can click on one of these sections and customize exactly what you'd like your clients to see. So you might want to hide all of the line items and show the totals for each section. Just makes it more visible for your client. So if I do that, I'll just do that and apply it to all sections. I'll hit apply there. We'll save that one. And then if I preview this again, you'll be able to see the differences. The line items won't be there anymore. There we go. So far easier to read. All depends on your business and how you want to present yourself. So bit of a crash course there. There's a heck of a lot more to quoting. Feel free to stick around for questions after the webinar. I'm just going to take a quick break, and any questions you've got now, feel free to fire those through. Devin will be there, and I'll be there to answer those. So we'll break for about 5 minutes. If you want to go make yourself a coffee, smoko, just do that now, and we'll be back shortly. Cheers. Cool. Hey, thanks everyone for your patience there. Hopefully you managed to make yourself a coffee or a tea and back in front of your computer now. Hopefully it's all helping you, whether you're new or have been using NextMinute for some time. You might be picking up a few little bits and pieces that are useful. So where we left off previously was just obviously adding that quote and looking at those print options for anyone else that's just joined. We've just created a quote. Now I want to show you accepting that quote and how you send that to your client and so forth. So what I'll do from here is, obviously we were looking at the preview of it. When you're ready, just basically hit send, and then on here it's going to ask who you want to send it to, and this is anyone associated with the job. So your client obviously, or any of your workers if you want to send that through. I'm not actually going to send it out because I'd have to verify my email address, and this email address is certainly fake, so that's not going to work. But basically you send it out to your client. I'll get you to at least the screen before they see it. This is the email template that accompanies it. So it shows information about the job, description of the job, the estimation of what the quote is, and it also attaches it as a PDF. That'll go through to their email address, and they've actually got the ability to hit accept quote and digitally sign that quote, which is a huge win, because it means you don't have to sit there wondering if they're actually going to accept or reject it. They can just do it straight from the email. So basically you just hit send and off it goes. Now if you need to get quotes signed off, if you're printing them out, I'll show you where you do that. Basically under preview and send, under preview there, just save this again. Now you've got a little printer option there, or printer icon. Then you can get that signed off if you need to, or you can download it as any of these different types of formats. So as an Excel type, CSV, PDF, Word doc if you need that, and get that signed off. And then what you can do once it's signed is, in this quote, you can go more and then go to accept quote. Now I'll just make sure everyone can hear me. Obviously with these new webinars, there's a few teething things. Yes, no, everyone can hear me, that's good. So yes, I want to accept that quote. And it's always going to give you a running record of who accepted it, at what time and what date. So on that, you're never going to have anyone, go, hey, I didn't accept that, or you're not going to be challenged by anything or by any of your clients, because you've got a running record of that. So quote's now accepted. Now, on this job, going back to the job here, we'll be able to see a little 1 under quotes now. If I go in here, I can see that that quote is now accepted. It was not actually sent, but we printed it off. Now, what I might want to do is actually create an invoice for that quote once the work's done. And to do that, I know I'm jumping ahead a bit here, and I'll go back to scheduling and stuff, but to invoice for the quote, you simply go invoices, add, using quote, and you can select the quote there and continue on to create an invoice. So I'll go OK. It'll ask you what you'd like to invoice for. In this case, I'll go all items. It'll also ask you if you'd like to keep those sections. So, the time, materials, other items. In this case, I will. Also, it'll ask me if I want to do a partial invoice or a full invoice. And if I go partial invoice here, it'll ask me if I'd like to do a percentage of the original quote or a set dollar figure. This is quite handy, obviously, if you're doing progress payments or taking a deposit for the work to start off. In this case, though, I'm going to go full amount. Then this is the basic details there before invoicing. What is this error message? Wouldn't worry about that now. I just need to set up my accounting integration properly. I'll just go OK there and then hit save. Okay, and that's an invoice. Now I am hooked in with Xero on this account, so all I need to do from there is simply go sync with Xero, and it'll send through either a draft or a finalized copy for everybody to see, and for you to then send out to your clients. So yeah, pretty handy. Same if you're using MYOB. And I mean, in terms of how much time that took to carry a quote through to an invoice, it was literally 2 minutes, and I was talking you through it. I don't know how much time you'd be spending if you're not using a tool like this, but I trust it's probably a bit more than that. So yeah, pretty handy. So let's just go out of the invoice now, and I'm going to show you a different job, and we're just going to have a look at the financial reporting, okay, on that job. And why I want to look at that is because it's very easy to see your quoted versus your actual, and we're basically sitting in a job. And just make sure my microphone's working again. It is. And I mean, being able to glance at a job and see that kind of information on the fly is just invaluable. So if I go onto this building new house job, for example, this is already kind of preloaded with a few different tasks. If I go into tasks here, I can see these different stages and where they're at. Okay, and also I can see that there's charges against this job, a couple of quotes in there, so maybe one in there for a variation, I'm not sure. And it's also been, there's been an order placed, there's an invoice done against it, heaps of photos, files, other stuff. So this job's kind of full of information. If I go to reports here and go to financial report, this is going to give me a full idea of the estimated versus the actual, estimated revenue, the invoice amount, anything that's not yet invoiced, the remaining amount there, gross profit of each area. Obviously the materials here, estimated versus actual, it's fully blown out, so the margin there is terrible, but you get the general idea that at a glance you can see exactly how a job's going. Now if you're doing a job and breaking it down into stages of a build, for example, if I go to reports here and do back costing summary, this here is going to allow me to actually see the individual stages, the quoted versus ordered, your supplier invoices, total labor, all of that kind of stuff. So having this information is just awesome to be able to see at a glance how you're doing as a business. Now, with your individual tasks and stuff, we're actually we're making some improvements to our back costing at the moment. So you should be able to see the tasks, and you'll be able to see the individual elements of labor or of materials and other bits and pieces as well, which is just going to be quite handy for you. And also be able to, when you're quoting, break that quote down into stages, and those stages will automatically report. Now, that's kind of in its baby stages of being developed, so there's a lot more to that yet. But obviously, I'll do a bit of a presentation on how all of that works in the not so distant future. Now, there's a few questions around scheduling, and I'm going to use this webinar new deck job as an example to show you the scheduling. And then I want to jump into kind of the mobile view and how people add timesheets or see the jobs on mobile. So to schedule a task against this particular job, there's a couple of different options. You can jump into the job, go into schedule tasks, go add. There is a more preferred option of going through to create tasks, and that's by going to your calendar view and then basically choosing a relevant day or a day of the month you want to start, and just clicking somewhere, go create new task, add in what you're doing. So this could be, for example, foundations, and then attach it to the job that you're doing there as well. Okay, I'm just making sure everyone can hear me still. Let's see. Yep, no, we're all good. So yeah, attach it to the job, and you can assign individual tasks to individual workers if you want to as well. I'll assign it to Mr. Subby, and then just hit save. Of course, with these tasks, you can also send notifications about these out as well if you need to. Now, as you add things to the calendar here, if you need to shift something around, just simply click and drag it to wherever you want. And there's a lot of different view options as well, because you can imagine if you've got a big crew or a lot of different tasks on, this is going to get really busy. So what you might want to do is just go to view here, and under view you might just want to look at jobs which are, for example, in progress, or jobs that specific users are doing, or just your own tasks. So there's a lot of different filter options there as well. I might just leave those alone for now though. There's also different view options here, such as timeline view, which some people will appreciate. This is just day by day, or agenda view, which kind of gives you a breakdown of the days running and all of those tasks which are loaded in. I personally prefer this view rather than the calendar view, just because it's just easier on my eyes to kind of see this stuff. Now, when you're setting tasks, I just got a question around setting tasks. Let's go back to the week view. When you're creating tasks, currently you do have to set a start and end date. You can make it an all-day event, so you don't have to set time, which is good. But we're going to make an upgrade to that very soon to just allow you to create tasks with no date. So that's coming soon, probably in the next few months, I think there, Daniel. So keep that in mind. Now, yeah, that's creating tasks. I'll just jump out of that for now. I don't want to save that. And I'm just going to boot up my mobile phone here so you guys can see what the mobile version of NextMinute looks like for a basic worker. So somebody who's got access to timesheets, that kind of stuff. Bear with me a second. I was going to make sure the tool is set up for this. Hopefully it's all going well so far though, guys, and you're learning a little bit. Like I say, we'll have more deeper dives into different areas in the future. Here we go. So I'll just bring my mobile screen over here, and in theory you guys should be able to see that. I'm connected. Yep, good. And basically your workers just need to jump straight into the NextMinute app you'll see there. And this is kind of what they would see as a basic worker. So you'll see timesheets, jobs, scheduled tasks. It's very easy for them to navigate around. It's not too busy, and they've got access to just what you want them to do. And they can go into timesheets if they want to log some time. They basically choose the day they're working on. I think we're on Thursday the 9th, aren't we? Yep. And click on plus. Then on the next screen, they select either the job or the task they're working on. So I can go select job. And there's that job that I've assigned to this basic worker, the webinar new deck. They click on that job, and they would choose the applicable rate. So this would usually just have their name on each of these different labor options, but of course the pricing is hidden from them as well. So I'll just click on one of those, and then they can hit duration, which is total hours, or they can set the time range, which is the time they started, and the time they finished as well. Go set, next, and finally this is any details of basically anything they did on the job. So I could say what am I going to say here? Supplied materials and measured up area for deck. Just click done and then save. That's all I need to do. That's a timesheet entry. There's no having to send you a text message or sending you a bit of paper with a few scribbles on it. It's all recorded in there. So I'm just going to move this mobile screen for now, and I'll show you where that time is held and how it's kind of comes back onto the job. So a couple of different things a timesheet entry does. Number one, under all jobs, you're now going to see an unbilled amount arrive on the job. So if I go into here, you'll see under charges, there is that entry, the 2 hours done, supplied materials and measured up area for deck. And you can click on that to make any changes to this if you wanted to. There's also the worker that added that in, and it even captures the location of exactly where they are when they do the timesheet entry. So you can keep an eye on your workers if you want. Obviously, you're probably not going to travel to Tauranga. It's a terrible idea of quite a travel there, but that's where I am right now, just working from home, of course. You get the idea. Now, as well as adding an amount there, you can obviously make this non-chargeable if it's a quoted job, by the way. If I go to timesheets here, I can do a report on all of the hours done. So I can go report here. I can choose who I want to report on. I'll go Mr. Subby for now. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Preview. And there's that timesheet entry. I can see that that worker was there between 8 AM and 10 AM. Customer was there, the job was there. That's the rate they used. And a little bit of a description there as well. You can see it was billable in this case. 2 hours by sell rate. And if you guys want to kind of, you know, chat this over with anyone or even present this to your clients, sorry, I'll move my phone out of the way. You might want to hide your buy prices on that preview, and then now this is kind of presentable to your clients if they want a running record of you know, all of the time logged on a job. So that might be quite useful. There is also far more diverse reports you can get down on the left-hand side here under reports. Now under here you can go timesheets by job, which will allow you to just look at specific jobs and all the timesheet entries against those as well. And there is a few more filters you can run on those. So that's pretty useful. Okay, there's also the ability to look at job charge summary by individual users. So you can go in here and you can look at all of the charges added by individual staff members. That's all really quite useful as well. Now what I'm going to do, I'll just pause on the reports here for a second. I've got a lot of questions coming through here, so I might have to get back to you guys. I'll open up the microphones at the end of this webinar and just chat to you individually on that. Let's see if there's anything on reports I can cover. There's a question around task improvements. When will they be available? We're really focusing on tasks in our calendar at the moment, so probably within the next 6 months. We've also got Gantt charts, or a version of it, which is in development right now. So if you're a builder and you want Gantt charts, it's going to be super useful for you. Now, the reports is an Excel file. I should mention, if you're doing any type of report in NextMinute, so I'll just do a timesheet report again. All of these reports can be extracted as an Excel file, CSV, PDF, any of that kind of stuff. That's really quite useful, or you can just print it straight off. Now I had a question come up, you know, about files and photos on a job. You know, can they do that on their mobile? And I'm going to show you, just reconnect to my mobile here, how to basically add photos on the job, how those are captured. So I'll just bring my mobile phone across again, just logged in as that basic user. Now if I wanted to take a photo on a job, I could just simply go to jobs and I'd see everything that I've got on. Click on the job. If I wanted to let my boss know that I'm on site, there's this on site button up the top they can click. And another version of adding time for different trades, of course, as well. You might want to hit the start timer button down the bottom, and that's kind of hitting the timer start when you begin and then hitting stop timer when you're finished. I kind of generally advise against the timer unless you really want to use it, because people just forget to stop it. And then you've got 24 hours logged on the job, and of course no one's going to work 24 hours straight unless they're crazy. So yeah. Now, if I want to add a photo, just go Actions, and then you've got a few more options here. So you'll see Photos, Notes, Scribbles, Files. They can access the Sorry, just lost audio. I think I'm back. So yeah, they can access those files if they need to, just in there. If they want to take a photo, just go Actions, Photos, Add, Caption You, or use their phone gallery. I'm going to go Caption You, and I'm going to take a photo of my screen. It's going to look really weird because it's kind of, you know, Inception type stuff. I'll go Use Photo. And now I've got that photo permanently stored against the job. So if I move my mobile screen again, go to the job here, you'll see a little camera symbol sitting there now, so it's instantaneous. It connects straight away to the desktop version. I'll click into this, go into Photos, just refresh this here, and there's that photo I just took, but on my computer, not my phone. So yeah, hopefully that's pretty handy. It's very, very fast. And any questions on file sizes, actually, this usually comes up, questions on file sizes. You can load as many files as you like against any job. There's just a limit on individual file sizes of, from memory, around 16 megabytes. So you're not going to want to load like big videos or anything like that in there, or really big files. But if you had like a lot of different documents, of course you can load as many in as you like. There's no charge for file storage, and they stay on the system, on the cloud permanently. So yeah, record keeping is awesome. Now I'm just going to check and see if there's much else that we want to cover before I just go straight into questions and answers and open up your guys' microphones, because I've given you, it's been quite a crash course on NextMinute. There's a heck of a lot more you can do with it, but hopefully what I've shown you so far is going to be super useful. I've covered files and photos, reporting and stuff, inviting staff. I've shown you the permission levels. Let's see, am I missing anything? No, I think we're pretty much covered as far as a basic, overview of NextMinute goes. The last thing I will want to show you is, obviously when I created this job and showed you the quotes and invoices against these, they're hidden within the jobs, as you see here. But these quotes and invoices and other bits and pieces are also accessible elsewhere in NextMinute. So if you just go down to accounts here, this here is where all of your quotes might live, with their status, the total amount invoice remaining. This is all super useful as well, and also of course can be extracted to Excel or a PDF. Same deal with your invoices. They all live down here, and you can obviously customize these. What have I done? You can click on these columns to customize things, and of course extract that to Excel if you need to, and also sync any transactions from Xero. So I'm hooked into Xero. If you had MYOB account right as well, when you get paid in your accounting system, it's actually going to bring that information back to NextMinute to tell you've been paid. So you're always, kind of on top of things there. So yeah, just coming to the end of the webinar now, I would say any questions, just start firing those through if you've got them. I'm going to open up each one of your microphones individually as well, and just chat to you quickly just to see of anything outstanding. If you are new to NextMinute as well, I'm just going to give you a promo code, just if you want to, get going, which will give you a little bit of a discount off for your first month. So I'll just type that into the chat. Just take a note of that if you want to. So when you go to upgrade, just type in that code there. Add that in when you click buy now. But yeah, let's get to those questions. You guys keep typing those through, that's fine. I'm just going to open up the microphones individually there. So, Pete, didn't I?
Sam,
how you going, mate?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, good. Any questions after that?
No, I've just learned a few things, just looking, observing.
Yeah, good. All right, mate. Well, you know how to reach us if you need to. So, cheers, mate. Yep. Thanks for attending. Paul Harris, you there, mate? Yep. Any questions that you've got after that?
Not at the moment, but just trying to take it up.
Cool, mate. Just let us know if you've got anything afterwards, if you like. Cheers. So yeah, I want to thank everybody hugely for attending this this webinar. Firstly, I know a lot of you have found it quite useful, and there's heaps of questions coming through. I'm not going to jump out of it yet. If you do have anything further, feel free to email support@nextminute.com, or just give us a call. Obviously, during this downtime, it's an excellent time to kind of address anything you're unsure on. So just do get in touch with us. I'm going to stay on the webinar for a little bit yet, though, just answering anyone's questions and having a chat. So if you do want to stick around, stay on, and happy to go through those with you. Thanks again, and keep well. Cheers, guys.